昨天啊，跟我自己说，我说上家吃牛肉在地铁给我打电话，加个班吧。到那儿。
As we begin working on our ball roll, the first most important thing are the hip figure eights, which we discussed in a previous video. If you have questions, please go back and look at that. The new stuff is that rolling ball. So the structure of this begins hands palm to palm, lao gong to lao gong. As they rotate, both palms face the belly or dantian. As they continue to roll, palm to palm, and so on. If you're brand new to this, going in this nice, very basic clunk space to space to space is a great way of getting comfort with the movement, okay? Once this feels pretty good, then we can go to rounding off the edges. And now it's kind of sphere-like, right? As I get into this phase, what I'm working on is an even rotation between the wrists and the shoulders, all right? If it's just the shoulders moving, there's no coil in the middle. I need that wrist roll to move in time, so it feels like I'm wrapping something kind of like, taffy around my hands, which, the gross how I think about it, is a pretty apt analogy for how we want this body feel of the roll. If my chest is flat like this, the ball keeps impacting my center. It's hard to get a nice solid sphere. And so just like in our hip rolls, we want to make sure that the chest is concave by knitting those clavicles, the back convex by splaying the scapula. As I create this round, now there's space for me to describe a sphere without running into my own self. Once I'm comfortable with this ball roll, both forward and back, we can begin to add in the ball roll on the base of that figure eight we've been doing for the last few lessons, okay? So, we have the ball roll, we have the figure eight, let's bring them together. Starting out, we establish that figure eight. We establish our postural elements, grabbing with the feet, drawing the belly, raising that head neck. And now we have that and a ball. We're going to do a forward roll to begin with. So, as that left hip comes forward, it pushes that left hand forward. As the left hip rolls back, it pulls the left hand back. As that left hip pulls back, that right hip is drawing forward, pushing that right hand forward. Right hip draws back, pulling that right hand back. So what we have, just like in our previous exercises, is a situation where the hips are initiating and the hands are following. As I begin playing with this, it's entirely normal to lose elements here and there that then be brought back online. Let's say I'm focusing so much on my feet and my ball that I completely lose the belly and back. That's fine in the beginning. Get these things established, get the feet established, and then work on drawing the umbilicus to the spine, and you'll feel a really different sensation in the middle as the power of that draw on the hips now begins to traverse the belly and enter into the stomach, right? Now you might feel that the arms aren't quite where they need to be because I don't have that convex nature in the front, that concave nature in the front. And so now I knit those clavicles, splay those scapulas, draw my belly in, raise my head neck, and all of a sudden there's a nice space for that ball to roll, and now I'm really moving. If I get lost, slow down. If that's not enough, backtrack. Start with that figure eight. Start slowly adding in that sphere. And over time, things continue to develop until you get a nice even roll. When you get really comfortable, you can begin to drop stance. Again, same postural elements, working on that hip roll from that deeper mabu, that deeper horse stance. All right, so that's rolling a ball back. Now for rolling a ball forward. It's pretty much the same thing, only here we're going to use the internal rotation of the hips as opposed to the external rotation. So now it's going to be that internal figure eight as opposed to the external we rolled before, okay? In my experience, this is a more challenging figure eight to work with and may take more time to build comfort with. So I'm rolling those hips. As that right hip comes through, I roll and reach. Left hip, the hands rolling off the hips. Notice I'm not paying much attention to my postural elements yet. I'm just trying to combine the ball roll with the figure eight in my hips. Once I have that, I grab with the feet. Once I have that, I engage the belly. Raise the head neck. I make sure my chest is concave and my back convex. And now I've got this nice, comfortable roll that I can again play with between 2 and 5 minutes, depending on the workout I want to give it. And notice it has more of a lumbering, rolling quality to this than we have the previous exercises. That's just the nature of that hip roll and how the internal rotation creates more of a focused spear point, and the external is necessarily just a little more diffuse, right? If I want more of a challenge, I can take either foot out at a 45 roughly, right? And start playing with this roll in that 45. Now, in the beginning, all I'm doing is changing weightedness. There's no figure eight here. I'm going forward, back. It feels a little clunky, but it gets me used to this motion, all right? After this, I start adding in inward rotation on both hips, and now you see how there's a really cool aesthetic that builds as I roll from quad to quad, from hip to hip, rounding and reaching, drawing that spear. And again, this you can do for a minute or two each side, get into a nice rhythm, play with that, change sides, find your timing, and just have fun with it. It's a cool shape. If I get lost, I focus on one thing at a time. Here's hips. Here's arm rolling off of hips. If I'm very lucky, they'll start working in together almost instantly. If not, I can backtrack even further, just like before, and start building up to the more and more challenging shapes. Good luck.